Can you go over the agenda as I get logged in? Sorry.
I think the first item was sort of your item about the Redfish API in NEM.
Yes, is Jason on the call? Jason from HCore?
Does he usually sign on this one? I know he'll usually show up at the VOTA, and 10 o'clock right now is Taiwan. 1 o'clock in the morning.
I think he was here in the last call.
Yeah, he's on. No, I think he just got on.
Was it Jason from Accton?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm from Dell Prakash here. I would like to join this Redfish API because that's we are heading that in our own way. So whatever we can contribute, I certainly see this as a role for us. Somewhere we can do something at least to improve on. So this Redfish API, I believe, is with respect to the white box switches.
Yeah, the white switches as well as the OLT.
Okay. So I would like to understand, you can add me to this and I will work with Jason on this.
Sure, but haven't you taken responsibility for some onus that's been put on?
So I was looking at it. See, we are probing into it, right? Right now, I'm from Dell's point of view, where all we can participate. We are trying to probe and essentially take where. And for me, I know Redfish API is one of the key values for us in the hardware and what white box switches we have. So we certainly want to participate there and contribute. The other one which I had taken was to review on the telematics portion of, it was the diagnostic. How do we deal with the NEM? Some of the, so there is a Seba 35, I will come to that when it comes. But so we will evaluate and see who all we need to add and where all we need to add for integration points. So.
Sure. What I would say, you're very welcome to join in that particular Jira story. Let's hear from Jason first, and then you're welcome to contribute and add and collaborate with Jason to deliver on that particular story. Jason is having some problems. We can't hear him. Jason, can you hear us now? Yeah, he says he has a problem with his microphone. Perhaps you can dial back in and maybe that'll help. Or can we suggest anything else? Is there a number that he can call instead of?
Yeah, in the invite there is a number you can use to join.
Okay.
It's depending on from where you're calling, but on the trailer there is a list of number you can use.
Okay. Maybe you can just message it to him on the chat, and we'll wait for Jason to call back in. And in the meantime, I will start with the second item, which is about Seba workflows. So, Zach, can I get presenter rights?
Matteo should be the presenter. I think he's running it.
Yeah, I'm presenting. I can make Sora presenter. Presenter.
Okay, so I've actually mentioned this on the calls before, but I just wanted everyone to take a look. So on our wiki, under Seba, we have a number of things that you have information on that you can go and check it out. I've actually pointed a whole bunch of people to this page because maybe people weren't aware of of this wiki and the information on this wiki. So I've had to send individual emails pointing to this link. So I just wanted to mention it again on the call. But we have a mailing list and a Slack channel, so that you should definitely look at that. All our Jira stories are on the Seba Jira board, so here's a link to that one. We have two kinds of project calls. One of them is this one that you're on. That's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific. You can go to the quad calendar and get an invite to your, you can copy that invite over to your calendar. Also, we have a daily scrum that happens at 11 a.m. Pacific, and so typically ONF people as well as folks from AT&T Foundry are on that call. So it's very much about what we are doing today, what we are doing next, and typically it's only about 15 to 20 minutes. We like to keep it tight. So if you're interested, please join the daily scrum as well. Um, and then our coding is over here. It's in the Get It repository. You can get meeting recordings. All of our Tuesday calls are recorded, and you'll get the meeting recordings on our YouTube channel. And finally, a bunch of design documents are in this Google Docs folder that everyone has access to. It's also public. And some of these design documents, as they mature, I actually put it on the wiki. For example, our monitoring and logging infrastructure. Those design documents are on the wiki. It tells you about how we are planning to do things in NEM for collecting stuff like logs and events and stats and having them being displayed. I also put a little note on the top that says that, look, if you want the most current version of this document, that's actually a Google Doc that's in that Google folder. And if you want to leave comments or ask questions, the best place to do that is in the document itself or on the Seba mailing list. Okay. Having said that, I do want to talk about a little bit about the AT&T workflow that we updated after the meeting we had with the Foundry folks in Atlanta, and we clarified that in deployment, this is what it's going to look like. It's different from the picture that I had previously. All access to a Seba pod or an abstract OLT inside that Seba pod, or multiple abstract OLTs inside that Seba pod, the only access is going to be through the external BNG. So as you can see, if an RG wants to authenticate, that authentication will go through the compute nodes to the AAA app sitting in ONOS, sitting in the compute nodes over here. And then the AAA app would have to reach out to the external Radius server that's behind this external BNG. That will happen through a gateway VM that is going to be in one of these compute nodes. That gateway VM will use a management VLAN 4093 to access the Radius server on that management VLAN. Okay. Similarly, when the RG has to DHCP to get an IP address, same process. It will go through, hit the DHCP relay application in ONOS in these compute nodes, and then the DHCP relay app will relay it to the DHCP server. This does not happen on the management VLAN. This actually happens with the VLANs that have been assigned to the particular subscriber or the particular RG. Okay, but an earlier version of this picture had shown this management switch, which is inside the pod having external connectivity. That is no longer true. All external connectivity will happen through either this gateway VM or just naturally using the VLANs belonging to the subscriber, and then through the external BNG. Again, this workflow, the most recent version of this is in the Google Doc. If you have questions, please do ask them on the mailing list or on the doc itself.
How is the BNG set up, the configuration there? Is that some external management system?
Yeah, that's really up to AT&T. I believe that external OSS has a hook into the external BNG, and that's really up to AT&T.
That's a business as usual flow. So that's BAU. That's as we would set it up today. So we're not changing the way that particular device is configured.
Okay, great, thank you. So yeah, if you do have more questions, feel free to ask on the mailing list or on the Google Doc itself or on one of these calls. The next thing I wanted to point out that we are at a point where we would like to have more workflows uh, also detailed over here.
I guess one question here, and just in terms of we talk about the Tomahawk having 3,200 gigs. Obviously, our external BNG today does not have a 100 gig interface, so we need some kind of designation that this is going to be a 4-lane, 40 gigs. In whether we're going to use one lane of that 40 gig breakout, or whether we're going to lag up to 4 of those. I don't know if lag is supported there, but yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have a 100 gig interface externally yet, so that would,
yes, that is correct.
I guess, four 10 gig lanes or lagged. I don't know. Is lag intended to be supported there off of the Tomahawk so that we can lag up to an external BNG?
Yeah, the answer is yes. We are looking into lag and LACP support. So the idea would be that even if you're using a single link, we were told by Sean and others that even for a single link, you still have to create a lag group with a single member. And then, of course, if you do that and support LACP, then we can lag together a bunch of links in the same lag group. So that's so if you go.
Well, but presumably that would be one of the 100 gig links that is broken down into 4 10 gig links. Is that how that works?
Yeah, something like that. We still have, we are exploring this option. So if you go to our Jira board, and let me see, it should be already on there. So if you look at the September version and then consider the epics under that, there is now an epic for supporting lag and LACP on the AG switch towards the BNG port. So there's a number of stories that we have to work on for this September release. So we can, every 2 weeks we're going to discuss progress of things on this Jira board. Okay. So, so what we'd like to, coming back to the discussion on the workflows, we do want to encourage other operators to work with us to submit their workflow. I intend to have, say a DT's workflow in here and say Turk Telecom's workflow in here, possibly other operators as well. So this would be a good time to start on that story.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that if someone wishes to collaborate on the pieces that are still missing in this workflow, right? We have a bunch of things over here about bringing up OLTs and ONUs, adding subscribers, the authentication, relays, suspending subscribers, and so on. But what is still missing in this particular piece is how we work in the technology profiles, the speed profiles, the service types, and so on. So if you have opinions or would like to chime in on that discussion, please do so on the Seba mailing list, or please directly comment into the particular Google Doc, right? So, Zach, that's all I had about addressing the workflows. If Deutsche Telekom or Turk Telecom are online, please do let us know how you would want to work on developing a workflow for your particular Seba profile.
Oops.
Zach, back to the agenda.
Sean, did you have something to say? Sean, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Jason's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. Sorry,
So
I just my microphone had a problem.
Okay. I think that's back to the previous topic, the Redfish API. Saurabh, do you want to take that on?
Yeah. I have created Epic, and the number is 188. So you can look at that. This is the Epic. The issue is A188. Sorry? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you.
So you're saying that we have created an epic?
Yeah. I created an Epic issue 188.
Okay. And you haven't listed any stories under it, am I right? Yet?
Yeah, 188. I have a one PowerPoint file to introduce the Redfish.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Are you sharing anything on the screen?
I don't think so
Okay.
yet. So can you give me?
Okay.
Maybe William or something the ONF can do that. There's a document attached to that Seba-188.
How can I share my screen?
I just made you presenter.
Oh, I cannot try. I cannot share my list.
So do you see a button that looks like a screen in the GoToMeeting?
Because my PC had my PC microphone had some problem. I used my cell phone to speak.
Oh, I see.
And
Can you send us the presentation? We can bring it up.
You can find out my presentation file in the 188.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's attached to Jira.
Okay, let's see.
So I'm going to share it.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm Jason Huang. I would like to introduce the Redfish and the service. So and please second the outline, and I want to talk to discuss what is the Redfish and what is the Accton Redfish service, and we would like to the Redfish server demo, but it's a simple test and the Redfish API, and we can get some information from the OT devices, and and next topic is RESTful client. So we have to create the Python Python client and can get some information from the ORT a period of time. So can we move before slide? And not okay. So not okay. And can you move to the three slide?
This one?
Okay, yeah, this one. Okay, thank you. So, and what is a Redfish? Redfish is the best on the industry standard specification, the API and schema developed by the DMTF. So DMTF will maintain all of the schema and create some API for development. So the other is the Redfish support many formats. And one of the format is the RESTful format and JSON file style. And you can replace the IPMI. The IPMI is a standard interface. It is a major and using in the BMC. So you can replace replace the IPMI and using the Redfish protocol or CLI approach to get to monitoring your devices. And the other is the industrial standard specification can meet most of the devices the data content. So you can very simple to get it. Very simple to get some content from your devices, and using the secure management the channel to your hardware platform. So originally, the Redfish is using in the server. So we can use all the schema and design for your equipment like a switch or VoLT. And please next slide. Okay.
Can you make that full screen, Mateo, so it's easy to read?
Okay. Please no full screen. Can you make it full screen? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's great.
No,
Okay. And this slide is showing what is the Redfish the content format. You can see and now Redfish provided the version 1. Version 1 is the latest version 1. So maybe later we and the DTMF will provide the version 2, and maybe so. The version, the resource schema, we can see some old data type. This old data type, every resources have their own the version. Like for example, is version 1.1.1. The service root is and is a first is working for the and AV resource. So AV resource have the different version. So the AV resource and can have the different object. So you can see the system object you can access your data plan and very detailed and system information like what type of the CPU or your memory, how many your memory, and what your hardware model, something like that. The manager is the define how to manage your hardware. So you can define your hardware, how to manage the Ethernet port, how to manage your service, your process. So you can define your manager resource. So traces right now we because and DTF can support many traces to monitor your hardware. So, but right now we VoLT only one U dimension. So we just support one traces now. So we can this present the hardware the definition. So you can put your content or use the DTNF scheme, the DTNF different standard in your resource. Okay. And please the next slide. Okay. And the object you can the correlation is the one of the resource and present in different member. The member can show how many your content in your resource. So, and you can see, you can tracking your content to get for your data. So you can see, you can to get the all data counter to know and how many resource in your how many the member in your content.
Hi, Jason. Sorry. This is sorry to interrupt, but we were not really looking at an overview of Redfish. I think most of us can figure that out from the wiki. But we were looking at how you plan to integrate these Redfish calls in the existing NEM sort of infrastructure. Do you have any slides related to that?
Okay. You can go to can you one the diagram? You can move forward the one. Okay. This is showing us the interworking concept. You can see the REST client on the list block. REST client can do some protocol. Like we only support HTTPS protocol right now, so you can use the some utility like browser or like you can curl or wget utility to get some URL and send a request to the Redfish server. So Redfish server and get and receiver this the request can respond to the REST client. So you can see this slide. So the client and server. So Redfish service is the client and service. Is client service the connection. So the client send a request to the server. Server will respond to the client with the data. So in the Accton the Redfish service, we have listen the TCP port in the A and 8888 bits port to do this service. So we had a program. You can see the PSME REST server, and the other is the PSME traces. These are two programs. And one of program PSME REST server is the responsible for. It's just like the HTTP server, and it can do the HTTP and HTML format back to the client. The other program is the PSME traces. The PMG traces, it always get the data from the ONLP module. This ONLP module is related to your hardware. So you can prepare your hardware information into your ONLP module. And the other way, the PSME traces will always get some specific data from ONLP in a period of time. And now we will get the data in 50 seconds. 50 seconds, every 50 seconds, we will get data from NLP. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, sure. So I have a question. You are talking of the, not the servers, right? In this case, you are talking of the switches, network equipment.
Yeah, switch. We can do the both switch and the OLT. Yes.
So the idea should be to focus on the switches because servers are standards, right? Already available, most of them.
Yes. We can use the same schema and the resources and implement to the REST server and the traces. So you can use the same way to communicate your REST client. So whatever you provide your switch, we can bring up this service in your hardware, like a switch or OLT.
We will have to provide more hierarchy of how do you specify the topology and how do you pull it out of the tree of various servers together. I think I'll work with you on that and we'll talk offline. I think you've taken more time than.
So, Jason, slide 17 onwards, you talk about integration with the ELK stack. Can you talk more about that?
Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, sorry. Do you see slide 16, 17, where you talk about integration with the ELK stack? Can you shed more light on that?
17 is.
Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can see a screen. This screen, right? The rest for client demo, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so the integration of these, combining the search, getting the log test, putting the graphics, the extract transform load, that's what you need to talk about now.
Okay, and because I cannot share my screen, so and today I want to show you I prepared a demo to show you how to interworking with between the server and Redfish server and client. So but my PC has some problem, so I can talk to you. You can see this diagram. This diagram is showing the Redfish client, the demo, and we have we use the ELK. You can see and the server and integrate ELK container, local stage, EST, the search, and Kibana. So we provide the program is a REST client. This REST client can then query every 8 seconds and from the OLT or your equipment, and prepare this data, push it to the local stage. The local stage and when the local stage get the data, it will push this data to the SDK search and immediate. So this SDK search is a database. This database and it is store all the data. Another container is the Heartbeat. This Heartbeat can monitor your equipment is the exist or is a diff. The disconnect is a diff your network. So this Heartbeat can every a period of time to query your hardware. Now we implement the query. We use the pin to detect that your hardware is available or not. And in meanwhile, and when you get the list the data, when you get the pin, the response, and the Heartbeat will inform to the local stage, and which the available states, and the available states the equipment. So and then put the right information to the static search.
Okay, so this actually works very well with NEM, because NEM already has containers for the Elk stack and other stuff. So I guess to support Redfish, we will need 2 more containers. One is your REST client, and the other one is your Heartbeat. Are they separate containers or the same container doing both the Heartbeat and the REST roles?
Okay, and Heartbeat is a container. Is we prepare the 4 containers, logical stage and Heartbeat and SDK search and Kibana. We prepare the 4 container in the same server. You can prepare your PC or some server in your network.
So I don't think we will use a container for all of it, because we already have other containers that are doing Logstash, Elasticsearch, and Kibana that is used by other parts of the system. What we will need is your REST client, and if you want to put your Heartbeat in your client, that might be something.
I understood that the REST client on the hardware.
No. Client is outside, right? The server is running in the hardware, right? So
the server is running hardware is right. But the REST client, you need a program to do the query data in the period of time. So your hardware need to keep the update and to your server. So we need to get us the many data to your database. So we create the REST client. We create the REST client to do some query to query the data.
Well, how does the query on the Kibana dashboard make its way to the REST client?
So you can one of the slide has showing the query data. Can you? Sorry, wait a minute.
Because you're storing all the data in Elasticsearch and then you're querying the data. No, the source of the data.
So it's not a dynamic query.
No.
Can you move to the 14 slide?
So
Yeah.
just a quick question. So I guess from NEM, I assume that NEM already has some indication as to whether an OLT is there or not, right? And is there like an overall heartbeat that something else could query, or we don't need to send a heartbeat for every application, do we?
In my environment, you can pretend REST client like a name, something API, implement some API to your program to do the job of the query, and you need to query some information from the OLT or switch, right? So some API need to implement to the name. So you can pretend, you can simulate your client behavior in your name. So you can see this slide, the URL, and you can prepare your HTTPS the format to send to the server. So the name, the program, your program can receive a response from the server. So this is the utility. You can test your server to get the specific the data from the server. So today I cannot show this tool. This tool is a REST. The tool is and REST API tested. And you use
the kind of data that you are getting are time series kind of data, or just thing that happens at a certain point, like alarms or events?
No, it's time series. If you look at slide 19, if you look at one of the last slide, or just keep going. Oh no, this one. So
okay, this is Kibana. You can see the statistic the diagram. So this data is get from the Elasticsearch. So when you want to see the some information, so you can go on the dashboard. The dashboard will do query job to the Elasticsearch database. So the Kibana will use the list more much more many data to create the diagram. Yeah. So you can see many diagram in your browser.
I'm thinking that we can consider to put time videos so we can easily make a correlation with byte ins, byte out, and temperature, and the data, the time series kind of data we're getting already from Vault, and the one we'll get from.
Okay. So what I'd suggest, thanks very much for the presentation, Jason. What I'd suggest is that you, Jason, and Prakash and Matteo, perhaps you can get together and create some stories on the epic that Jason has created. that will clearly outline the tasks necessary for getting this stuff into
Okay.
Netflix.
I think
I will update the story of Epic in
Yeah,
the
but
Seba
I
space.
should start a track on the mailing list so everyone is up to date with what we are saying.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Zach, back to you.
Okay. Looking at the agenda, I think we're to the point where we're to Garrett permissions. So some of the AT&T Foundry guys who are contributing specifically in the abstract RLT and I think the VES agent, they were wondering if it would be possible to get +2 approval on their repos or a wider set of repos. Usually in the past, this has been brought up at the TST meetings for adding new contributors who have final approval. Are there any thoughts in the community about that?
So my
Maybe
that they are the owners of the at least the OLT, the abstract OLT repo. They are the only one working on that for now. So I'm totally fine with them +2 permissions.
okay. I am too. So I'll make a group in Garrett to allow that. Is there any comment from any of the people of the Foundry about this?
Yeah, I guess it's probably more important early on in the process because we're trying to cover a lot of ground, and for both of these, it's likely that AT&T is the only beneficiary of this. I mean, we agreed to do it kind of with under open core just in case somebody else could benefit, but
okay.
The speed of approvals is probably going to play a role in how easily our IT folks can collaborate with us.
Okay, this sounds good. If you could, Don, if you could get me a list of who to allow and on which repos, I'll run it by the NOF folks, and we'll get that figured out and added for you.
Okay, and that's Zach talking, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, I'll send that to you.
Okay, thanks, Don. Next item was there's a question about disaggregation of the Helm charts, and also another one after that was the API test and the Helm charts repo. So these are sort of internal issues we've been having with the way that the code base is structured. Currently, all of the Helm charts for Cord and Seba live in a singular Helm charts repo, and the thought is that it may be useful for at least the service charts and maybe some of the profile charts would get split out. This is to speak to the testing issue. Right now, if there's any change to the Helm charts repo, it's hard to tell which section it was done to, and so we've been doing a full API test on everything, and that might be overkill. So having these split out would reduce the test cycle time for making changes to that. It would also make it easier to, when we upgrade versions, that you wouldn't have to make a change in the Helm charts repo. You make your change in just the service charts repo. Are there other thoughts on that? I know probably Matteo and Scott have comments.
Yeah, so I think we should disaggregate the Helm chart because otherwise referencing them between each other it's a pain. And I think it's totally fine to make changes to the Helm chart repo without running an API test, because we are running that test when we make changes to the code base. And we are just referencing version of the code base in the Helm chart that are already tested in their own repo. So I think that the two problems are separated. If we want to separate to disaggregate the Helm chart repo, is not because of the testing.
But if we were to remove the API test from the Helm charts repo, is it solely just removing the testing section of that? Are we still going to have a job, or do you find it still valuable if we have a job that builds the pulls the Helm charts and all the containers, because that's important, right? In
Yeah,
terms of
the reason the reason that API test was originally added was that it was possible to specify a wrong container version in the Helm charts, and then you wouldn't be able to. You could specify a version of the container that didn't exist, and then you could check in broken charts.
The reason I'm proposing to remove that is because that test takes like 35 to 40 minutes to run, and in 40 minutes, without the test, I managed to break and fix the repo like 4 times.
I think we're in agreement there that the testing is taking.
The container there's easy ways to do that.
Yeah. We don't need to deploy everything to test that the container exists. We can just make, I don't know, an API call to the registry and verify that the container exists.
Yeah. I find that part of it at least important though, because we don't want.
But does this have where you reference containers that don't exist?
And most of the time we're referencing masters.
Right, so no. I don't know, if it's not a problem, I would say don't worry about solving it yet, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to have the linking so that we verify that we don't reference charts that don't exist. And the actual legion and the license and the other check that we have, but the APIs are tested in other places. So
Unless there is a change to the chart, you don't need an API test, right? If there is a change, then you can do it maybe ad hoc.
Yeah, I guess the advantage of having it split up would be that the changes wouldn't be as widespread. You wouldn't have to do as many tests across against all of the different profiles if there's one test.
But
or if
how do you reference a chart from another one if they are in separated repo?
Right. So I think at the start, what at least I discussed with Scott was that maybe we do this only for the services that don't include other and don't have any dependencies or requirements.
No, but they are included.
Yes, but they are included, and I realize that making a version upgrade to one of those then also means you have to make an upgrade to the version in the Helm charts repo of anything that aggregates it.
So I think move this discussion in the mailing list because there are a lot side of it, and we're running out of time, so it would be better not to take a rush decision on that.
Okay, I agree. Let's move it there, Mateo. So I think we have those two items taken care of. The last one is PWF. Saurav, did you have this?
Yes. Actually, can you give me back the presenter rights? Sorry.
Yes.
So right there, all caps. Okay. Great. So I did, the last 5 minutes, I did want to mention a couple of things that we will discuss in more detail in the future. But again, if you go to this design documents folder that is on the wiki, it'll take you to this place where you will also find another document that says test plan. So I do recommend that folks go and take a look at this document. This is the test plan for automated tests for Seba's release. The next one the first one we're thinking is in September. That's how we call it on the Jira. So you'll find platform-related tests and functional tests. For example, this one's for the AT&T workflow. So we've just started writing down a series of tests that we'd like to perform for this workflow functionality. And there are a number of organizations that have been contacting us, have been contacting ONF with interest in contributing tests. Jabil comes to mind, Flextronics comes to mind, then there are others. So please do take a look and add to this list. And this will make its way into Jira, and then more and more people can start picking things off and implementing tests. So this work is coordinated with Suchitra, Director of QA at ONF. So please do contact us on the Seba mailing list about this test plan, or enter your thoughts directly into this Google Doc. Finally, one thing I want to mention is that we will be doing a demo of Seba at BBWF, Broadband World Forum, in the last week of October in Berlin. And very quickly, I wanted to mention what that demo would look like. In fact, it is going to be looking, we're going to do the AT&T workflow. In that demo, there will be equipment from H4, OLTs. Basically, we'll be demoing a Seba pod. So it's going to look similar to actually this picture. So there'll be H-core OLTs and ONUs from Alpha, possibly AT&T RGs, not sure about that yet. But there'll be 1 to 3 compute nodes and aggregation switch, a gigabit Ethernet management switch. In addition to H-core OLTs, we will also have Attran OLTs and Attran ONUs. So we'll have a lot of physical equipment over there, OLTs, ONUs, aggregation switch, compute nodes, and an external router that will be sort of pretending to be the external BNG. But in addition to this, we will be using a simulator, BBSim, which is in development by NTT. And BBSim will have the ability to create many more OLTs and ONUs, simulate them. So to NEM and ONAS and Volta, they will appear as real ONUs and real OLTs. But it'll perform only control plane stuff. So no actual data plane will be handled by BBSim. But to the rest of the system, it'll look like there are tons of OLTs and dozens and dozens of ONUs. So that's going to be a very powerful demo with both physical and simulated infrastructure. So just wanted to give a heads up to folks, and we'll be demoing that on the Seba call before we actually go to BBWF. But that's something to look forward to in the coming weeks. So that's all we have time for. Zach, anything else?
Just one thing. I've been passing it around, but there's a call agenda that you can find linked to from the calendar, and that's what Mateo's been showing on the screen. And also next week we're going to do a review of tasks in Jira. So look at your tasks in Jira, and we'll go over new ones and what's completed. That should be it. Thank you, everybody.
Just one quick question, and I'm sorry, I wasn't in all the meetings with the. We're calling this current Seba September, or are we gonna? Is that gonna be kind of a forward naming scheme? Are we gonna maybe call it December Seba? Or are we gonna come up with some numbers at some point in time and call something version 1 and version 2 and those kind of things?
Yeah, I guess we have a thought right now. Sorry, somebody was trying to say something. Yeah, so I was just saying that we haven't given it a lot of thought. We can discuss it. We just needed to, we wanted to create a version on Jira, so we just called it the September version. We can come up with names and numbering in a future.
Okay. Yeah. Just for road mapping, it can help us if we're thinking about things past September. Obviously, right now we're focused on September in terms of implementation, but when we start to think about things past September, having some names to call things would be good.
As a future epic or future version?
Yeah, actually,
Okay.
what we have is we have a September version, then we have a future version, and then we have issues without version. So the issues without version are somewhat slated for after September but before future. That's what we have right now. We can formalize this a little better by discussing on the next or subsequent meetings.
So should we create a version that is not so far future?
Well, the future was supposed to be next year. And so issues without versions are somewhat between September and next year. So, but yeah, we can formalize this in a future call. Any other
Okay, thank you.
questions? Okay. Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.